Welcome back to Brick by Brick. Today I'm going to be doing my latest Senate prediction. This is going to be for the 2026 Senate elections. So as you can see here, I've characterized all the safe and likely states. There are quite a few likely states there for the Republicans: Montana, Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, Texas, Florida, and South Carolina. There are some special circumstances for each of them. In Nebraska, for example, that would normally be safe. But Dan Osborne is running as an independent and probably won't win, but likely has a better shot than a Democrat. He outperformed Democrats in Nebraska in 2024 as a Senate candidate, and good chance he can do that again. But with that, so that brings us to 43 seats for the Democrats that are safe and likely, and of course the seats that aren't up for re-election. And that's 50 for the Republicans. So regardless, even if Democrats win every single seat I have yet to characterize, Republicans would still have control of the Senate, and at least for the next 2 years at the least, just because J.D. Vance would be the tie-breaking vote. But we'll start characterizing these states. So I will start out with the lean Democratic states. I'll add a tilt characterization later when we get to that. But as far as the lean states go, I do think Minnesota and New Hampshire are probably going to be in the lean margin. These two states have gone to Democrats pretty consistently. So I don't think, and I think this will generally be a good year for Democrats as far as the midterms go. We'll have to see what happens though, but I do think each of those states will be in the lean Democratic rating. And then I do think that the rest of these might end up being tilt. There is one more state that I'm kind of on the fence about being lean or tilt, but for now we're going to go with tilt, that being the state of Maine. Susan Collins has done quite well in her previous elections, even in atmospheres that are not very Republican friendly. Her kind of independent appeal in moderate repeal has helped her in the state of Maine, and so I think that that will probably be Susan Collins' victory. I do think she doesn't have the best approval rating, so I do think it is very possible she could lose. Many people are expecting her to lose against Sarah Gideon the last time she ran for election, but she was still able to outperform and win that election, so I think it would most likely remain in Republican hands. I do think if Susan Collins weren't the Republican that was running, it would probably be a different story, but just because of her moderate appeal, she might be able to win off enough independents and moderate Democrats as far as that goes. And then as far as, actually we have one more lean state, I forgot, I didn't recognize it, that being the state of Ohio. It depends. I think Sherrod Brown is being floated as a potential nominee for the Democrats, and if that's the case, it could get down to a lean margin. It's probably going to be closer to the likely than lean. Unless Sherrod Brown runs, then it will probably be closer to lean. But regardless, that is going to be the 52nd Senate seat for the Republicans. Now we'll characterize some of the tilt blue states. So I do think in the state of Georgia, Jon Ossoff, he's doing pretty well in the polls. Like I've said before, this will probably be a good year for Democrats, good election year. Most likely Democrats will take back the House. We'll have to see if that actually comes to fruition, but historical trends have showed us that, so I do think that Democrats will have a favorable environment and be able to win the Senate seat there in Georgia, or be able to hold it. And then I do think that the state of Michigan also will end up being in Democratic hands. This one, I'm a little, weirdly enough, I think Georgia might be further Democrat than Michigan. We'll have to see what happens, but definitely a possibility. And then lastly, the state of North Carolina. North Carolina is going to be a tough one to call. It hasn't voted for a Democrat on the Senate level for a while. I don't remember exactly. I know on the presidential level it went to Obama in 2008, but since then has consistently voted Republican. So I do think it is very possible the margin gets narrowed down to a tilt. but I do think that I'm not sure it'll be good enough of a year for Democrats to win in North Carolina, but I do think they could maybe narrow the margin. Feel free to let me know. And yeah, so that brings us to 53 seats for the Republicans to 47 for the Democrats. So it ends up being a pretty, well, exactly the situation we're in now for the U.S. Senate, 53 Republicans to 47 Democrats. But yeah, feel free to let me know if you have any questions. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.